Hello, I'm Toycat, and you might not know it, but there are actually two separate video games called Minecraft. They're both developed by Microsoft and Mojang, and they both received the same major updates on the same days, which contain mostly the same features, but in light of that fact, Bedrock and Java are very much different versions of the game, as any player of either version can attest to. But what exactly makes them different? And although you could probably point to a lot of surface level things, such as the platforms they're available on, the programming languages they're made from, and obviously a lot of the UI differences, such as how it looks when you open your inventory or the pause screen, the truth is the things that define the differences between the games most broadly are the features which are available on one version but not the other. Despite the fact that many official materials get the two versions confused, they're not the same in terms of what you can actually do with each version of Minecraft, because there are many features available in just Bedrock Minecraft but not Java, and sadly there are many more features available just in Java Edition but not in Bedrock. And today's video is designed to shine a light on the many features which are available just on Java but haven't made their way to Bedrock yet, not as a criticism of Bedrock. I think there are many great things about Bedrock, but as a way of saying, hey, the games are meant to be the same, why are all of these features missing? This should be addressed in some way, maybe with a timetable of when they're going to be fixed, because I think it's misleading to call the two versions of the game the same thing when some versions of the game have features as cool as this, allowing rainbow beacons and such, while some versions of the game don't. So yeah, in today's video, we're going through every single feature one by one. We've got all these signs laid up and set up to go through and explain every single individual feature. So yeah, get ready to watch the most comprehensive list of every single feature that's on Java that should hopefully be coming to Bedrock at some point in the future, but currently has not. And we're going to start with the things that are just easiest to go through in a bulk list. Here are the commands and the game rules only available in the Java edition. If you want to ban, if you want to set a whitelist, if you want to have a default game mode set via command, if you want to do any of these different commands or game modes, they're only available via the Java edition. The most notable, of course, being spectator mode, which is a whole game version of Minecraft, which is not available in the Bedrock version. Then we've got these effects, which are only available, of course, in the Java edition. Dolphin's Grace, for example, the luck, the bad luck potions, glowing, which you get from the spectral arrows, and then there are enchantments, and Sweeping Edge, of course, makes sense. Like, yeah, there's no new combat on Bedrock, but things like the Frostwalker path being an entirely different shape, it's something you could only know by playing both versions and realizing that your exact same path isn't going to work there. And then there's a bunch of other tiny things that we could go through, like, well, I mean, also F3 is a thing that you can only do here. There's a screenshot button straight to your thing. There's amplified worlds, there's buffet worlds, there's custom superflats. There's all these big major features that I think should be big priorities, but again, there's lots of other features that you might not know about that I think is worth mentioning in today's video, which is why we're starting with things like the dead coral. Because in the Java edition, as you can see, there are dead corals, there are dead coral blocks, and there are dead coral fans, 3 different types, for 15 different types of dead coral total. Whereas when you go to Bedrock, there's just the coral blocks and then the coral fans. The regular coral themselves is kind of missing there. Just a weird example of things that are on one but not the other. Next up, we've got the Wither Rose. So here is the Wither Rose. It's a plant you can find in Java Edition. Oh, look at that. There it is in a little plant pot. What a wonderful thing. You get it when the Wither kills a mob, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, let's see what it's like on Bedrock Edition, shall we? Except, oh, on Bedrock, there's just no Wither Rose, apparently. If you want to find the Wither Rose with a skeleton skull, with a mob, no, there is no Wither Rose in Bedrock for some reason, whereas here on Java, it exists just fine. Why is that the case? Because parity missing. Next up, we have the ability to remove plants from flower plots. This is also possible in Console Edition. You can't do that in Bedrock. If you want to take a flower out, then you better break that plant pot, which I think is pretty destructive. Next up, we have the fact that when you play scaffolding, it's very slightly different. So here you can see I'm climbing up it, kind of jumping up it. I can walk on the bottom of the scaffold, so I kind of look like this. This is not possible on the Bedrock Edition. Here's me not doing a thing on Bedrock because it's not possible. I think that's useful, but I also think, this video isn't designed to criticize Bedrock. It's designed to show all of the things that are missing that shouldn't be, and also to let you know which features you have on Java, which are currently exclusives. And boy, when it comes to mobs, there are a lot of exclusives. So first of all, you can find drowned and zombie pigman jockeys. So, there is a rare chance of baby zombies riding a chicken in Minecraft Bedrock. But obviously, in Minecraft Java, you get baby drowns and you get baby zombie pigmen as well, which I think is super cute. But then also on Halloween, this is one day a year, so it's not that big of a deal. But Halloween every year, Minecraft console, Minecraft Java, they have a huge treat because mobs have a chance of spawning with jack-o'-lanterns, all with, you know, these dudes on their head. Also, Bob and Abdul, interesting naming scheme. But you can see they spawn with jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkins on their heads, not possible in Minecraft Bedrock. Next up, we've got the chance that drowns on Bedrock can spawn with a trident or nothing. Drowns on Java, trident, nothing, or 2% of the time, 1 in 50 spawns, they spawn with a fishing rod. That's actually a gameplay difference that will make a difference to how many fishing rods you get. So yeah, strange difference to have in there for some reason. So the last one here is the fact that humanoid mobs will render all items in the head slot, meaning if you give them something like a dragon head or a block that they shouldn't have in their head slot, but if you give it to them, they can actually put it in there. Not possible in Bedrock, even with commands and mods and stuff. Well, I guess with mods, anything is possible. Next up, we've got the fact that iron blocks and glass panes support lanterns, torches, and pressure plates only on the Bedrock version. So you can see we've got some glass, it's supporting the pressure plate and the torch. How wacky. And then underneath you can see, oh, it's supporting the lantern. It's pretty cool, right? And yeah, this doesn't work exactly the same way on, you know, Bedrock Edition, which is a shame. Another difference is something called the Knowledge Book in Minecraft Java Edition. As you can see, it shows you various recipes, you know, and it's the crafting recipe, you know, the system as a whole, very, very different. Again, I don't need to explain this one too much, but crafting, very different across versions, and some people might prefer the way it works in Java. Next up, we have the fact that when you use a cartography table, it will show you what's on the map. By the way, Nazi Zombie Postboard, or NZP, was made by the person who helped me put this map together. Big thank you to BC Deshi. But yeah, here you can see what it looks like when you're seeing your map, whether custom or not. You can see it in the cartography table before you alter it, whereas when you look on the Bedrock version, no, my map is very much a filled out thing. It shows nothing here. And just to prove that it is very much nothing, let me put it out again. As you can see, it's the darkest timeline, the darkest world. I'm recording this in a world that matches what is, my opinion, the state of Bedrock Java parity. We've also got the fact that if you have one of these maps with a nice little plug for Nazi Zombies Portable, then you can see how if you right-click a banner, you make a banner map marker. This is one of the cooler features of the last couple updates, and it just isn't in Bedrock. Why is it on Bedrock? Never been explained to us. It's just not there. It's just missing. And yeah, you can see here's a map with a marker. Here's one without. Really cool way to mark places in a world, and also gives a proper use to banners, which are currently a little underserved in Bedrock. Similarly, you can dye signs only in Java Edition. If you want blue signs, you can do it that way. There's a way to mod the text and do it, technically speaking, you know, on, if you really want to. But as far as the base vanilla game in survival, you cannot get red E's no matter how hard you try. And you know, all I want in the world is a bunch of red E's. Why can't I do that in Bedrock? We've also got Suspicious Stu, who, contrary to the name, is not your creepy uncle who you really want to go away but just won't. Instead, this is an entire food type. It came in 1.14. It's a really cool new, you know, item for that update. It's just missing on Bedrock. Never came, none of the betas, not the full release. When is it coming? We don't know. It's a really cool item that when you drink it, gives you a random effect, or you don't know the effect. It's actually quite procedural. It's a really useful item. It's a really fun item. We also don't have trapdoors, which can be climbed as a ladder when it's on top of them. So as you can see, here is a ladder leading up to a trapdoor. The trapdoor will function as a ladder, which is really, really handy here on Java, allowing me to get to the top there while also sealing something up. It's a really useful extension to a ladder. Doesn't work that way on Bedrock though. Next up, we've got the fact that if you want to place a torch on a solid surface, it doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's literally a staircase, as you can see, as long as you're placing it on a full block, the torch doesn't care. However, on Bedrock, you cannot place on any stair block, no matter which face you try to do it on. We've also got the turtle egg, which has a unique model in Java Edition. Is this the correct one, or is it the one in Bedrock? You could kind of argue this is a Bedrock parity feature, not a Java parity feature. But given that the Java one is nicer, you know, it's a nice circle over here, you could probably argue this is the right one. Also, if you break turtle eggs in creative, such as an entire stack, the entire thing goes at once. Whereas if you do so in Bedrock, you have to break it one by one. It probably goes without mentioning that foxes are currently only in Java Edition, not Bedrock. They're in the beta for Bedrock, but that's still you know, something that's going to take a month or two to come out as of this video going live. We won't leave aside, however, the fact that the Wandering Trader drinks the invisibility potion at night and milk in the daytime, and that the trading llamas are actually very separate on Java. If you're in flowing water, i.e. you're in less than a full block of water because it's flowing down, in the Java Edition, you can jump up and down on this, but you can't swim in it, even if you're double tapping W. Is this the intended way, or is being able to swim in half block of water intended? Again, hard to say which one this swings for, but it's a big difference between the versions that hasn't been addressed publicly. Also, infested blocks break instantly, as you can see right here. I'm in survival, playing very normally, but an infested block just broke like that, you know. And although the silverfish call function's the same, the fact that you can break a block in one single click removes one of the key ways of kind of defending against it. Because if you don't know, if you're in a stronghold and you want to not activate silverfish, you mine the blocks and you see which ones are different. In Java Edition, it breaks instantly. In Bedrock, it has a longer time with a pickaxe. And it's arguable that that makes Java Edition harder, so difficulty difference there. We've also got a very different UI for the structure block. Again, some of this is being fixed in 1.13, but then we've got the fact that there is a data mode, which is only used by developers, but is kind of missing there in Bedrock. Again, that one's kind of back-end, you can excuse it, but why is that the case? We don't know. We also don't know why you can place any item in the offhand slot, even one that can't be dual wielded on Java, but not on Bedrock. So again, you could theorize it's something to do with new combat, but let's say you grab a block of, I don't know, grass and you put it in your offhand. Even if we can't use it, it still works just fine there. And yeah, you can dual wield grass and a sword if you want to, only on the Java Edition. Also, powered levers emit some redstone particles. Huh, they're very small, they're very minor. Something that is the opposite of those things, though, is the item frame being placed on all sides of a block, only on Java Edition, meaning you can have, say, you know, the magic debug stick only on the top and bottom of a block on Java Edition. This is a real shame because, you know, having item frames on the floor isn't necessarily always handy. You know, not many people want it in that regard, but when it comes to maps, which if you don't know fit up a block, this is really cool to cover an entire block of the floor because you can have giant floor and ceiling maps only in the Java Edition, just like this. Also, you can only place levers on the ceilings as well as sideways buttons on the Java Edition. Look at this, ceiling levers. And also they'll emit redstone particles while they're on the ceiling. Isn't that wonderful? While we're talking about redstone, of course I have to mention quasi-connectivity. It's one of the reasons a lot of Java Edition players will never switch over to Bedrock because they're used to Java Redstone, which has quasi-connectivity, which to keep things simple for this video, because we're not diving into the redstone mechanics too much, it's basically diagonal redstone, you know, connecting when it's not quite connecting. You can see here it in use, and yeah, it's something only on the Java Edition, and it means that the fundamental mechanics of so many redstone builds are different on Java and Bedrock. Everything else in redstone works pretty much the same, but this one key difference breaks every build when you try and port it over. Also, it should be mentioned that the Java Edition message, if you try to sleep while it's not a correct time, i.e. it's daytime and it's not thunderstorming, it will tell you that you can only sleep during those times, and it also won't set your spawn point. It's also much easier to reset your spawn point because if this was my spawn point, it would be immediately broken if I broke the bed. So, fun fact. To switch gears for a second though, let's go back to mobs because you can get potion effect spiders on hard difficulty. One of the functions of having, you know, again, a hard difficulty in Minecraft Java and also on consoles is the fact that sometimes spiders will spawn with potion effects. This is their counterbalance to the fact that sometimes you get mobs with, you know, armor on, you know, hard as well. So spiders will spawn with sometimes night vision, sometimes invisibility. You get some really creepy, weird potion effects. They can even get like jump boosts and stuff. And yeah, this is a Java Edition only feature. And in the same way, if you have a creeper and you give the creeper a potion effect, which we'll just do with a command block for now, the lingering effect will be left behind on the explosion. Basically, you can get a free lingering potion using a creeper if you choose to, which is really quite a cool thing. Only on the Java Edition. Here you can see it's a field of poison you can only get, or you can get by going into the same place the creeper was previously. And yes, I very much am saying you can only make chemical weapons in the Java Edition, and that's sad. And if you want to cheer yourself up because you're sad about that, well, you can play yourself some music, except on Java Edition, you're going to have way more options to choose from. So yeah, obviously when it comes to sound and Bedrock is a lot more limited because it runs on phones as well, and running on phones means there's a big storage size issue. However, the fact that all of these no-block sounds aren't available, that's just kind of sad. So to show you, just real quickly. All of those instruments are not available in the Bedrock Edition, but are right here in the Java Edition. Speaking of creativity, beacons are a wonderful thing. I mean, everyone loves hearing that beacon sound, knowing that they've done some great things in the game. But here's the deal about beacons in the Java Edition. They actually can blend colors together. Rather than having distinct colors, such as, you know, yellow that goes straight into green or blue which goes straight into red, instead the colors can blend together with up to 4 or 5 stained glass. It's a really wonderful thing that allows you to make very distinct colors. It means instead of having just 16 colors, the number of stained glass colors, you instead have tens of thousands of different beacon colors you can make, meaning you can actually make rainbow beacons in Minecraft on the Java Edition or console. While we're talking about beacons anyway, actually, let's mention the fact that the beacon beam can be seen from much further on the Java edition, as opposed to on Bedrock, where the beams disappear very shortly. You can see the beacon from pretty much anywhere where it should exist, even this far away. Meaning the beacon actually works as a beacon on Java, as opposed to an item that emits a big beam that when you're kind of close to it. And the other interesting effect is the fact that the effects you can get from the beacon, i.e. haste, which you can see in the top right of the screen right now, that haste effect will last anywhere upwards of the beacon. It's not a localized effect. Any Y coordinate will work as long as you're within 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 blocks of your beacon, depending on the level. As long as you're within the correct number of blocks on the X and the Z axis, the Y axis does not matter, which is kind of interesting and a nice little bonus for Java Edition. And yeah, since this one frustrates me the most, to summarize it quite simply, beacons are beacons in Minecraft Java Edition, which they are not in Bedrock. Minecraft Bedrock has no properties, am I right? Also, this time tells me about the different flying mechanics. It should be worth mentioning that, yeah, flying is very different on Java than on Bedrock. On Java, when you stop flying, like I'm going to hold forwards now, I'm going to stop, and you're going to see how it takes me a little bit to hit a stop. It's kind of slipperiness when you're flying. On Bedrock, you stop flying, and you stop flying. The debug stick, as you might be familiar with, is able to debug different items. As you can see, I can change the direction of a chest right here using the debug stick. It does a bunch of other cool things like changing the states of blocks. And basically there is a debug stick, a really cool creative / commandy item that is only available in the Java edition. And yeah, we can't do a video on Java parity without mentioning this guy right here. The furnace minecart was very tragically removed from console edition when it transferred over to Bedrock. There is no intention to add the furnace minecart to Bedrock, we can assume based on that. Why is that? Is there a plan to remove it from Java? Is there always going to be a type of minecart only available on Java, not Bedrock? Again, even when we get answers to questions like it's not ever coming, it still comes with a second question as to like, so is there a permanent parity difference? Are the two versions of the game designed to be the same or not? We don't know. What we do know though is that you can have shield banners, i.e. you can combine banners and shields, so you can customize your own shield to look however you like. Look how great that looks. Can't do that on Bedrock, still no banners plus shields. And also there is an exclusive banner only available on the Java edition, which has the globe pattern on it. As you can see, only Java edition are globalists, everyone else, they believe in a flat earth, I guess. I mean, in the Minecraft world, it's actually weirder not to believe in a flat earth because the earth is literally flat, right? We can prove that. So yeah, this is actually the wacky belief in Minecraft. Imagine if the world was like a cube or a sphere. How wacky this guy is right here. We've also got the fact that fishing rods can reel in items, i.e. if you pick up a shield, you can pick it up using your fishing rod. It works for even things outside of water. There's my shield. I want to go get it. I'll fetch it using my fishing rod. If I can click it correctly. There we go. Look at that. You can move an item towards you using a fishing rod. It's super cool, and it's Java exclusive. Also, woolen carpets being used as fuel for the furnace. Also a Java exclusive. Since there's been so many Russian names in this world so far, it only seems correct to cook potatoes. So yeah, here you can see carpet equals cooked potato. Speaking of Soviet Russia, when you kill a fish, they drop bone meal instead of the full bone, so it's a bit of a weaker drop, a nerve drop you could call it. And also if you set a fish on fire, prior to so you can see there's bone meal, very much not a bone. But also if you are to set fire to a fish prior to killing it, and let me admit right now this is a pretty niche thing to do, but if you do that you'll end up with some cooked version of that fish. This does not work in Bedrock. Similarly in Bedrock you can't crouch underneath slabs just like this. Look at me, I'm underneath a slab because again the mechanics for how many blocks you were seriously reformed in Minecraft 1.11, but they weren't reformed in Bedrock in a similar update. This is actually the same reason that you can throw ender pearls and end up crawling directly in Minecraft, and yeah, it's a thing you can only do in the Java edition because of course, again, you can crawl in Java, that's been a thing that's added. In Bedrock, it's kind of swimming but without water. It's not quite the same thing. Also, if you break a block, all of the things attached to that blocks will make a breaking sound as well as if you've broken them. To prove that, that was a lot of breaking sounds all at once. In Java edition, if you try to break bamboo using a sword, it happens instantly. Again, another instant break, whereas on Bedrock, it's the same as any other block. This is why whenever I farm bamboo in Bedrock, people are like, use a sword, it's way faster. Then they're mind blown when I use a sword and it's not faster. They're like, but I learned in a video, because different versions of Minecraft that aren't, clearly delimited to everyone. Which is the same reason that soul sand is actually slower when there's ice below it, only in the Java edition. So here's soul sand. This is the speed you'll move, both in Bedrock and in Java, when there's soul sand with any block below it. However, in Java, there's an exception to that. If you put ice below the soul sand is significantly slower because the slipperiness of the ice is combined with the slowness of the soul sand, and it means you don't get traction and you don't get speed, and it's just sad and miserable. You can make it sad and miserable by crouching if you want to. Also, when you grow yourself a giant spruce tree, which we're going to do right now, all of the blocks around it will be replaced, or some of the blocks around it shall be replaced with some podzol. As you can see, just like that, podzol instead of grass. What's going on here? It's the magic of the giant spruce tree. We've also got different torch models between the Java edition and the Bedrock edition. When mounted on a wall, here's what it looks like on Java, and here's what it looks like on Bedrock. Next up, we've got the fact that leaves will only start decaying when 7 blocks away from wood, as opposed to when the top few trees of the thing is destroyed, meaning when we remove these top parts off the tree, it's not going to start decaying yet, necessarily, unless it's 7 blocks away from wood or more. So these blocks will decay, these blocks will not, because they're still next to wood. One that's kind of shocking to me is the fact that raids are hugely different on the Java edition, because the illagers will move door to door, rather than moving aimlessly. The illagers can open the doors, illagers will celebrate if they actually win and kill the villagers. The bells make a different sound. The raid bar at the top of the screen right now, it's a different color, it's red, not purple. Witches will throw helpful potions to the illagers, which I think is a nice little bro move of them if you're on the illagers side of this whole thing. We've got the fact that hitting the bell during the raid applies a glowing to the illagers. Really cool feature to find illagers, by the way. Would love to see this in Bedrock, but it's not there. Villagers gift the player when they defeat a raid, and cats spawn naturally in villagers instead of on World Gym. This feature here, by the way, is a great example of something where I think even the people who make the official PR material aren't sure which features are on one version but not the other, because this only happens on Java, yet they put it in the official Minecraft Village and Village trailer, showing they very deliberately made a trailer for both Java and Bedrock. So yeah, a feature that is exclusively on Java is in a trailer for both versions of the game. We've also got the rather interesting Java feature where the ominous banner, this thing right here, is only obtainable from killing the head pillagers. You can't actually copy it yourself, you can't make it yourself, or you'll make this one instead. This is your default trying to make it banner. This is your ominous banner that shows you killed a pillager raid. I think it's an interesting difference. Which is interesting, I'll admit, but perhaps not as interesting as the giant, something which has no AI anymore, something which has been, made to be removed from Minecraft many times, but you can still find this in the game code. It's a giant zombie. It's from the early days of Minecraft Java, and admittedly, shouldn't probably be here in Java, but here it is in Java, and yet not in Bedrock. There's also giant slimes and giant phantoms for what it's worth, but something that's way more interesting than giant slimes and giant phantoms, I'm sure you agree, is if we take Horatio over here, and if we take Herbert, two great names for a slime and for a magma cube, respectively. If we take these guys and we place them down, you're gonna see how oh yeah, here's Herbert over here, let's kill him, and then we're gonna lose his name tag, right? Nope, we're on Java. All of his babies are also called Herbert. Same as, obviously, as you can work out, true for Horatio's babies, or actually are they babies or they're clones? Like if you kill someone and they split into two, I guess it's like a preservation method, but still, all the baby slimes are called Horatio here because they're the same being, I guess. Finally, we've got a rather key one in the form of the spectral arrows, also known by the community as glowing arrows. As you can see, I shoot a creeper, and now we can see his name tag, and we can see that the creeper's there. Even through a wall like this is actually something to do with the rendering engine. It should be fixed in a future Bedrock update. We just don't know when. We don't know if it's going to be the same or different or what the deal is, but it's a really cool feature, only available in Java Edition, which is the same reason it doesn't work during raids, no matter how useful it would be. I left out a few super small ones, such as the way that left click interacts with snow, for instance. I left out a few small parity bugs, but these are a bunch of features I would like to see transferred from Java to Bedrock. I would like to know when they're coming from Java to Bedrock. And it's fine if they say, oh yeah, we can't do that, we've got many other things to work on. It's fine, there's lots of big things that need to happen in Minecraft Bedrock, and I understand why they'd want to focus on these things. And I completely understand why they'd like to work on those things instead. Of course, Minecraft is a business, it has to focus on business things first, necessarily before it works on things that only small portions of the community might even ever notice. However, I think if they want to call the two games equal, or they want to even imply that Bedrock is better, then it's important to make sure all of the features from Java go over to Bedrock. Because a lot of Java players watch Bedrock videos, like mine perhaps, or a lot of Java editions go to play Bedrock, and they just find something explicit, inexplicably missing, and that's something that people don't like. When a feature just feels like it's missing, it needs to be explained as like, oh, we couldn't do that because of engine issues, or you can say we're not going to do that. We think for game design reasons, it doesn't make sense in our version of the game. There are lots of valid responses, but I think, you know, right now we have an attitude of kind of sweeping these things under the rug, saying that both games are equal, when in fact, both games are very different things, and there are lots of things I love more about Bedrock. There's a reason I played Bedrock despite all of these features, and, but yeah, I'd like to see these things fixed. And if you like this video, I think this video has been a pretty diplomatic way of saying, hey, yeah, just give us an answer, give us a timeline, say, next 2 to 3 years, you know, like, oh, this update's when we'll get most of this done, then we'll do the rest in another update. Give us any sign for any of these things, and I think the community would be happy enough with that. I think, obviously, some portion of the community is going to say, if it's not there right now, then Bedrock bad, Java good, but the truth is, most people just want to see Minecraft in all versions the best it can be. Even the people who think that Java good and Bedrock bad, they probably don't want to think that. They want to have 2 versions of the game that are great. They want to have every single one of Minecraft's almost 200 million players able to enjoy a great version of Minecraft with all the features they know, they love, and they expect. But yeah, that's just my point of this video. That's just the thing we tried to race through. Thank you so much for BCDSG for helping me. And also, let me know if you want to see the same feature video in reverse. Why do I play Bedrock Edition despite all of these things? Because there are Bedrock exclusives, which I think are kind of great and which I might go through in an upcoming video. Let me know if you'd like to see that. This video took a lot of effort, so doing the same for Bedrock is obviously going to be a similar task. But yeah, thank you for giving me your time of the day. I do appreciate it whenever you choose to do that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.